So my background is kind of 30 years traditional finance. I was working for Goldman Sachs, where I started and ran the hedge fund sales business in equities and equity derivatives. I then ran a global macro hedge fund for one of the biggest hedge fund firms in the world called GLG Partners. And then eventually started kind of semi-retired, moved to the Mediterranean coast of Spain and started writing Global Macro Investor, which is a institutional research service read by the world's biggest hedge funds, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, that kind of stuff. And then eventually started a media business called Real Vision back in 2014 to basically democratize the very best financial intelligence. I came into my crypto journey. It started really in 2008. I knew that we had a brewing debt crisis because of the amount of debt the world had and how we'd mismanaged interest rates and created this issue, which was also supported by demographics. So everything blew up in 2008. And then I was in Europe for 2012 when almost Europe collapsed as well. And at that point, I thought, okay, this is not ending because the answer to everything was yet more interest rate cuts and monetary printing was now the norm. And so I started to look around to try and start the world's safest bank because I thought we need to not let people lose all their money. People had lost their money in the Spanish banking system, the Cypriot banking system, and then other banking systems around the world. And during that search of setting up a bank with a bunch of family offices, somebody suggested I start looking at Bitcoin. That was 2012. So I looked at Bitcoin, pretty much understood immediately the power of blockchain and Bitcoin itself.
So just for me to understand, so you're trying to found a regular bank.
Correct. One where there was no relending of your assets.
Okay.
So you would deposit money and it was your money, much like with a gold vault. I wanted something like that because people didn't know who owned what. And I saw blockchain and I realized, oh, on blockchain, you can see who owns what. And it's always recorded and it doesn't get lost. So that's what got me interested. I started investing in Bitcoin in 2013. And I wrote probably the first ever macro framework for Bitcoin and pricing Bitcoin. I looked at the supply of gold above ground, below ground, all known amounts, and backed it into Bitcoin. And I said, well, with gold at $1,300, if Bitcoin was to follow the same kind of stock to flow ratio, it would be worth $1 million. So therefore, it was at $200 at the time. I said, this is the best risk reward I've ever seen in my life. So that was my journey into crypto. And then over the years, I sold out in the rally in 2017 and then bought back in March 2020.
Great.
And then put everything I had in it.